Hi everyone, this is Dr. Swanson, and this is the welcome video for COMM 464, Public Relations Management, Fall Semester 2020. I want to welcome you to the class, and I want to take the next few minutes to give you a little video overview so you know what to expect. I'm going to refer you to different elements of the course that have been set up in Canvas, and that way you can take a little time and do a little exploration before we have our first class meeting on Thursday, and you can have an idea what's going to happen in this class and what you will learn between now and the end of the semester. This class is built completely around teamwork, and the reason this class is built around teamwork is because that is the reality in the public relations world today. Of course, now in this time of pandemic, we find ourselves doing pretty much all of our work online, but really, for public relations people, that's not anything new. PR people have been working in teams and working mostly online for quite some time now. It is the norm rather than the exception that if you find yourself going out into the agency world, for example, you're very likely to be interacting with coworkers on the other side of the country or on the other side of the world. So the skills that we will develop in this class of working in teams and working in a virtual environment are very much necessary and very much relevant in the public relations world. The book that was written for this class, I am one of two co-authors of the book. The textbook is all framed around public relations in a team concept. And so we'll spend a good deal of time in the first couple of weeks just talking about working in teams and having you and the others in the class get to know each other and get to a situation where you and your teammates can work effectively together. A lot of what you're going to deal with in this class conceptually will not be really new information for you, and that's kind of the way the capstone experience is supposed to be. When you get to the capstone course, you're really supposed to be relying mostly on what you have learned in the courses that got you to this point. Granted, there will be some new information here, some new ways of looking at public relations. There will be some concepts on a higher level than you have experienced before, but it's my hope that much of what you see as the learning in this class is not really new because the concepts, you have dealt with them before, you have seen them before in your other classes. There are two kind of opposite extremes that public relations revolves around, and I guess probably opposite extremes is not the best phrasing, but what I'm getting at is that public relations is strategic and it is creative. And those two things are kind of opposite. The strategic is kind of the left brain side of you, and the creative is kind of the right brain side of you. Or, as I like to refer to it, strategy is the craft. It is the structure, it's the nuts and bolts, it's the logic of how public relations works. And creativity is the art of public relations. So if you want to think of it in terms of like a final campaign book for this class, a final campaign book that you'll produce for your client, strategy, the craft, is the structure. It's how the book fits together. It's how one concept merges into another. It's the rational part of that book that will explain what you did for the client and how the client benefited. The other part of it, the creativity part, the art part of it, is the way you express yourself. It's the words you use, it's the sentences you use, it's the visual appearance of the book. So both of those things have to work together. You have to have the strategy, the nuts and bolts, the logical part of it, and you have to have the creative, artistic, unique, visual aspect of it. And you'll find that'll be true throughout the campaign for your client in this class. that we are balancing the strategic and the creative. We are balancing the craft and the art, because that's what makes good public relations. One of the challenges to this class may be actually one of the reasons why you selected this class section to enroll in. We only meet one night a week. Now, on the one hand, that sounds great. Wow, it seems like the semester will go by faster if you only have 16 meetings as opposed to 32. But in this class, that's going to be challenging, because you cannot just pay attention to this class on Thursdays and then forget it until Thursday rolls around again. It can't work that way. You're going to be investing a great amount of time outside of class. In fact, most of the time you spend on this class will be spent outside of class, communicating with your client, communicating with your team members, rolling up your sleeves and doing the work that needs to be done. Basically, what's going to happen in class on Thursday nights is I'm going to talk a little bit about concepts with you. We're going to make sure that we've got all the concepts covered. We're going to do a check-in on how things are going with your client. There's not going to be a tremendous amount of time on Thursdays for you to actually do the client work. That has to be done at other times. And that has to be done in conjunction with your teammates, in harmony with your team. So one of the first things you're going to be doing after you get on a team is you're going to be establishing what the norms will be for you to work together. And some of your work will be alone. There will be some tasks that each team will assign to different people that you will do individually. You won't do it with team members. But then there will be other work, like writing documents in Google Drive, where you can all get in Google Drive at the same time, no matter where you are, and work on the same document. There's going to be some things that you will be working on in a team way, but virtually. The work will be both asynchronous and synchronous. And that ability to work with your team is critical to your success in this class. You cannot work alone in this class. It just can't happen. We will be having 3 clients in this class. 2 of them are, at this point, still pending, and I'm making this video on Thursday night, the 20th, a week before our class begins. I hope to have all 3 clients nailed down by the time I see you a week from now. But 2 of the clients are still pending. One of the clients will be the Department of Communications Facebook page. I am the administrator of Facebook. You are going to be writing a strategic plan for Facebook that will delineate what we're doing with Facebook, why we're doing it, who we're targeting, how we ought to be targeting them, what are best practices for Facebook, what do other academic programs do with Facebook, all those kinds of things. And then you will be creating a variety of posts. Some of them will be posted this semester in Facebook. Others will be posted over the winter break. You're going to be creating a lot of content for Facebook. And that is a team, a client that I think will work very well for you, especially if you're interested in doing social media for an organization, because you're going to get hip deep in social media. And our department chair will ultimately be the person who signs off on your work and gives the client evaluation of your work. As I said, we will be working in Google Suite. You can call it Google Suite, you can call it Google Drive. We will be working in Google. That's where the written work you create will be created. There is a folder for each client team for you to be working in. You can access Google through the Cal State Fullerton portal. It's called Titan Apps, but it's really Google Drive. And I have shared the links in Canvas for you to get in there when the time comes to begin working. But that's where the work will be done. We will, of course, be making presentations. Presentations will be made on Zoom. Everybody will be presenting. And we'll talk more about that the first week of the class. But there will be client proposal presentations, and there will be final client presentations at the end of the semester. The textbook for this course is essential. You may get on now and look in Canvas and look at the assignments and go, well, he doesn't have any details here in the assignments. He doesn't have the structure of the assignments. And that's because so much of it is going to come right out of the textbook. The structure for your proposal that you will create for the client is right out of the textbook. The structure for the final campaign report, or as I call it, the final campaign book, is right out of the textbook. How do I know those structures work with me? I was a co-author of the textbook. So those structures will work with me and they'll work with you. There's also a client agreement that you will have your client sign off on before you get started. So everything comes right out of the textbook. And so that's why it's very important that you have a copy of that textbook. As I speak to you tonight, Thursday night the 20th, Kendall Hunt does not have the link active yet for the printed copy of the textbook. It's supposed to happen within the next 24 hours. The printed copy of the textbook is, of course, the most expensive option. If you choose the printed copy of the textbook, it comes as 8.5 by 11 sheets, 3-hole punched for you to put in a binder. If you choose the ebook copy, you can get either the 180-day copy or the 365-day copy. If you choose the ebook copy, in my opinion, that's the most reasonable to do from an economic standpoint. And also, you probably won't want to save all the book, but you can print off particular pages that you want to save. So if you have any questions about the textbook, feel free to send me an email. I can assist you with that. But this is the new 3rd edition of the textbook, and it is required for this course. There is a to-do list in Canvas, and you should, if you haven't already, take a look at the to-do list, because that will give you an idea of the things that have to happen right away in the first week of the class. You may take a look at that and be kind of freaked out because it looks like a lot in a very short period of time, and it is. This is a capstone course. This is the culminating experience of your bachelor's degree. I tell students in other capstone courses, and I'll tell you, the famous Betty Davis quote, buckle your seatbelt, it's going to be a bumpy night. Well, for you, buckle your seatbelt, it's going to be a bumpy semester. Maybe even more so for you because we're only meeting 1 time a week. A lot of the capstones meet twice a week. But you can get through this, but you've got to be really good with time management, and you've got to be really good with communicating with your team and communicating with me, and you've really got to stay on top of things in this course, because we will move very quickly and there will be a lot of work to be done, because ultimately, the product of this course is a campaign that you will think up, write down, research, carry out, and demonstrate the success of for a client. That's public relations. That's what we do. You want to be able to do that before you graduate. You want to be able to tell a potential employer that you have done a client for a real world client, that you have done a campaign for a real world client. You will want to have the campaign book from this class in your digital portfolio, because you will want to proudly show that to a potential future employer. Our public relations program is held in very high regard across Southern California and elsewhere, and that is because of the hands-on focus of this program. We are one of only 39 accredited programs in public relations in the country, and that's valuable, and that carries a lot of weight in the job market, and so you will want to be able to demonstrate that for future employers. So anyway, make sure you take a look at that to-do list and get ready for all the things that you're going to have coming up this next week and beyond, and start blocking out time in your calendar. When are you going to be able to invest time in this class outside of the class meetings? That's very important, because without that investment, you're not going to make it, and I want everybody to succeed. I don't want you to just clear the minimum C- that you need to pass this class. I want you to pass this class with a grade that makes you proud, and more important than that, with a campaign book that makes you proud, and a very happy client that you have worked for, because happy clients write letters of recommendation, and you want to get one of those from your client. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the Canvas page. We're all new at Canvas. Well, you may have had Canvas. If you went to one of the community colleges here, you may have used Canvas before, but Canvas is new at Cal State Fullerton. I was one of the early adopters, and I used Canvas for my 2 summer classes, so I've kind of gotten my sea legs in Canvas, and I understand how it works, and I actually like it a lot better than Titanium. It's very intuitive, it's very visual. Things link together nicely in Canvas. I really like it, but I'm still building the course page here because I couldn't transfer all of my materials out of Titanium to Canvas. It just didn't work the way I wanted it to. So Canvas build is still going on, which is why on the front page of Canvas, when you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the little under construction sign, and it'll be under construction for a while. I will stay a couple of weeks ahead of you, but I expect to be building Canvas probably for the next 10 weeks or so until I get it all built out. I will be putting items in Canvas that are both informative and entertaining. I like to use videos and screenshots and other things. I have a wealth of course resource materials on my personal website that I'll be linking to Canvas. So the book is essential in this class, but we're also going to go well beyond the book, and we're going to look at examples of real campaign practice in action, and it'll be a very memorable experience for you. Of course, we have an election coming up in November, so this is going to be a hot and heavy semester in terms of things happening in the public sphere and public relations activities that we can point to and talk about in the real world. So I think this is going to be a semester you will remember because of the capstone and because of the election we have coming up in November. I don't think you're going to forget this period of your life, and because of the pandemic we're going through, I think you're probably going to remember these times. So I want to make this a memorable and valuable experience for you. So that's what I have to tell you about in this introductory video. I thank you very much for your time and your attention. Again, go through Canvas, look at the syllabus, print off a copy of the syllabus if you can. Look at the materials I've put up there already. Look at the to-do list. I can't tell you any more about the clients right now other than the one client I do know of, but we'll have a good discussion about clients on Thursday night. And I want to make sure that by the time we're done with class Thursday night, all your questions are answered and you feel that you'll be challenged, but you'll feel that this will be a valuable experience moving forward. I trust that it will. This will be a semester you will remember. So that's all I have to say this point, Thursday evening, August 20th. I thank you for your time and attention, and we'll talk again soon.